Did we do what we said we were going to do? Is a much better anchor than did we get what we said we were going to get. Because getting is out of our control, but doing is divine. Doing is magical. Like the actual action in the process itself is the most important thing you can do. And projections are projections, saying, I think we're going to hit this number or that number, nothing ever goes as the Excel sheet says it's going to go. When you punch in the numbers of this is what we have, this much this and that much that, what are we going to do? They're very, very rarely are companies that really are able to execute on that scale. And even personally, the goals are cool, the goals are nice, and the goals sometimes push us to execute at the level that we want to execute. But the most important thing is the execution itself, is the process itself, and who you become along the way. So that's why it was so powerful to me when I heard that question being possessed, um, that question being presented. Is at the end of the day, obviously you do want to hit the numbers. You do want to hit decent numbers, and make sure that what you're doing is effective, and be able to analyze that part of it. That's very, very important too. But the ultimate thing that you can be proud of at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, is going back to the question, did we do what we said we were going to do? And if we were committed to the process, we stuck it through, we pivoted when we needed to pivot, and it made sense, and it increased, uh, again, that metric at the end of the day. If ultimately at the end of the year we can say, listen, some things worked, some things didn't work, but we definitely did what we said we were going to do. I just feel like it's such a powerful thing, man. It's such a high integrity way of thinking. Not thinking in terms of outcomes, but thinking in terms of inputs. Because again, the inputs are the only thing you can control at the end of the day. I think it's very important. It's cool to have that weight that you say you want to hit in the gym. It's cool to have that dream physique that you say you're going after. It's good to have those numbers, the accolades, the achievements, all those things. All those things are very above the shoulder, very sexy, for lack of a better term, right? They're very cool looking things, very nice looking things, things we desire. But real deep is that I managed to stay aligned with my mission, that I managed to stay focused, that I vote with my time and my attention for the things that I say I care about, or did I go outside of my game plan? Because when you go outside of the game plan and you lose, there's more than a little bit of if you think the price of discipline is too steep, wait till you get the bill from regret. You know, if you think it's tough to stick to it, like there's the version of you that stays with the problem for a year and a half, struggles so that you won't struggle again for the next 20, 30 years with that same issue. And there's the version of you that chooses not to struggle for the year and a half, and has to struggle for the rest of the 20, 30 years with that same problem because you couldn't just keep your head down one time and not let yourself down. And for me personally, I mean, I tend to be a product of my environment. I tend to be a product of the people that I'm hanging out with, and that I'm spending the most time with, and where I tend to focus my energies on, and where I tend to focus my attention on. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Sometimes you may be hanging out with decent human beings, but you choose to focus on the worst parts of them that bring out the worst parts of yourself. And that's how you get caught up in, like, back in those cycles. So for me, it's always visualization, it's isolation, and it's motivation and dedication. Like, isolation is a gift for me. For me, isolation is a space where you can reconnect with yourself, you can find yourself, and you can really do some high level executing. And so don't fear um, to be alone in a room with your own thoughts. If your mind is not a safe place, then nowhere is. If you make your mind a safe place first, then you're much further along than you would be otherwise. Because we do have these self destructive tendencies when we're not all right within. How are you supposed to win if you're not right within? That's like a Mary Badu ad lib. How are you supposed to win if you're not right within? Something like that. And it's a fair question. What is success at the end of the day if on the inside you just are in a place of turmoil? We think of stories like the great Charlie Sheen, Tiger Blood, winning. His life was a mess, his mind was a mess, his health was a mess, and materially he was in the pinnacle of his life, making millions per showing for an hour of work, more or less. You might be in the trailer for the entire day, but ultimately making a lot of bank. Terrible drug habits, terrible sexual hygiene, obviously terrible spiritual hygiene that goes with it. Um, Regardless of what materially you may be pulling in at a certain time point, if you're not all right with yourself first and foremost, then you'll never be in a good spot. Regardless of what materials you may gather, your relationships will be in turmoil. Just everything will be in turmoil if you're not right with yourself first and foremost. And so I think it's very, very important to remain diligent, remain focused, minimize distraction, and execute. I think 2026 is a year of execution. Um, and that's what I forecast, and that's what I hope for you, my friends. Did in fact enjoy the video, hit that subscribe button. If you're an entrepreneur, tap in with Legacy Africa. Link is in the description. I have been Sage. Thank you for watching. Standing on business. Signing off.